The ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine has brought the world to a standstill.
And notable media organizations are constantly bringing stories from the front line.
Well, I, as a journalist myself, show full respect to reporters across the world who risk their lives while showing us the battlefield. The media coverage is, of course, courageous.
But some of it from the West is marred by racial prejudice that drew outrage recently.
But this isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
Well, even in what he called a careful version, the reporter's implication, cautious or not, has been made clear. It's much worse and unacceptable when white Europeans suffer than when it's Arabs or other non-white people.
And the sentiment has been laid bare again and again in some Western media coverage since the conflicts began.
Just to put it bluntly, these are not refugees from Syria. These are refugees from neighboring Ukraine. I mean, that, quite frankly, is part of it.
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
And what's worse is that the insult goes beyond media coverage. Europe's approach to the Ukraine refugee crisis is also drawing accusations of racism. Thousands of African and Asian nationals are reportedly being denied entry into neighboring countries.
And I want to say that the Secretary General is shocked by the numerous reports of racism, harassment, and discrimination that people of different races have been subjected to as they try to leave Ukraine, as well as in neighboring countries as they seek refuge from the conflict.
In light of this selective empathy, the United Nations Refugee Agency has urged receiving countries to continue to welcome all those fleeing conflict and insecurity, irrespective of nationality and race. And the Arab and Middle Eastern Journalists Association issued a statement calling for media organizations to be mindful of the implicit or explicit bias in their coverage of the Russian-Ukraine conflict. Well, solidarity with people during the armed conflict has for sure reminded us of the power of empathy. But please also do remember that the limit of empathy should never be measured by the color of people's skin. We are only one race, that is human race, and we all deserve peace and stability.